Okay, good morning. I think we're finally broadcasting after a couple reboots and multiple entering this stuff. Hopefully, this will all get better. I don't really care. I'm not going to get into it. It's really weird. I got to look at that camera because when I look at myself, it's like, whatever. I got to get used to that. Okay, so what is today's March 30th, I think. Monday, bump and grind. Let's get ready for today. This is commercial refrigeration and HVAC essentials YouTube broadcast, I guess. I don't know. Sounds good enough to me. Talking about the mic's clipping again. Talking about things that nobody wants to talk about except me. So that's what we're going to do. I'm not going much lower than that. I listened to the video prior and it was too low, but none of it clipped. So it's pretty good. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what the hell's going on in Iran. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about high oil prices. No. 2008 all over again. Anyway, we're going to talk about what makes, I'm going to get in a chat room here, but I don't even know if this is working. If I could spell hello. Let's see what happens. It's still kind of weird how YouTube then integrates with OBS. And I don't want to touch on this stuff because it's going to do some things I don't like. Anyway. For one, cut me off. Cut me out. Turn me off. Whatever. What makes a qualified or any technician a qualified service technician? Well, I don't know. I guess that's a good question. It all depends on who's asking it and who is granting the qualifications and what actually you're striving for. Now, this is like, okay, who's asking? Employer, customer, manufacturer for being a certified rep, and employer, customer, and probably other people that you want to do work for or be employed by. And your perspective, I guess, which I don't know if some people put that into the equation because it's like, wow, I got to know. I see posts everywhere with guys getting into this industry and, well, I'm here and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and what else can I do and blah, 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 blah. So I guess from the employer's perspective, one of which I've had for 20 years, I really wasn't a big, like, what are your certificates? You know, and I got a whole folder full of them over there somewhere. As you can see, I'm in disarray. I need a green screen or I need something. I'm trying to get this organized. That's why I'd prefer audio only or podcast. But for now, this is what I'm going to do. So when a guy sat down in front of me, I'd ask him, of course, for their resume and see where they worked, because that means more to me than in the beginning, unless the one thing is EPA certification, universal type 2, the size of equipment that I serviced was enough. And I really didn't care. I'm going to get in a rant here about this. After I sneeze. Excuse me. My allergies are a lot less here than they were in Colorado, that's for sure. So when the Clean Air Act came in 92, Montreal Protocol, whatever. Okay, great. I'm not debating that. That's great. But there was no type 1, type 2. I can't even remember exactly what the classifications were, if there were any. You either went and got EPA certified or you didn't. I think there was a different classification for automotive, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you're talking, what, 30, 35 years ago, something like that. 34 years ago. So I really can't exactly remember every detail. I could be wrong, as I often am. But it's like, yeah, just get your EPA certification. No, I don't want the automotive ones because I'm not working on cars. I'm just working on equipment. Great. That's great. Yeah, you got it, Then, for some reason, I don't know why, and I don't care. Well, now we got type 1, type 2, universal. Okay. Why? I mean, I don't know. So I wasn't hung up on that as an employer. So if you have a type 2 and you're an older guy, experienced guy, whatever term you want to use to describe me, and I have my type 2 because I don't need my universal. I don't plan on working on stuff that big. I did before all this horse shit started, but as fate has it, and where I was supposed to be at the time, it wasn't that big a tonnage or refrigerant capacity or however it's rated. I wasn't touching it, and there you go. But when somebody sat in front of me, and for what we did, and you had your type 2, it's great. Great. It's all you need. Okay. Then and a driver's license, but of course you ask them that, and before you pull a DMV or something on them, and a background check and all that fun stuff, then you're like, you don't know. But this is more of what did I call it? Qualified. See, and then, well, does that mean certified or does that mean whatever? That's the thing. That's the question. That's the question. What is a qualified technician? Okay, from the employer's perspective. EPA type 2, universal's great, whatever. You're not going to get any more money for it. I don't give a shit. So that's just what it is. You're getting paid for the position, but you got to be qualified. Okay. So you're qualified in all those realms before we can even go further. Then I would look at your employment history. Now, for me, I don't care how many places you've worked, because it's not an issue. It's an issue if you come on to my place and I give you employment and then you bug out in 6 months for no reason whatsoever Because if you leave my company, I can tell you right now, you're not going to find a better company at the time. I'm not in business anymore, just to be clear. Because you're not. You're not going to find a better place. It might be corrupted by people that are working for me that I'm not aware of, which I couldn't do anything because I wasn't aware of it. But, yeah, that would be, for me as an employer, again, qualified. And probably for anybody else, but I can't speak for them. I can only speak for me. Then look at your resume, look at where you've been, and all these things, and then maybe finally, okay, we work on Manitowoc, Oshisaki's, Carriers, Lennox, blah blah blah, exhaust fans, Captain Bear, this and that, everything else, blah blah blah. Isomatic, Scotsman, York, Daikin now, I guess, I don't know, all these things. Do you have any service seminars in this area? Nope. Okay. Have you worked on them? Yep. Okay. Would you go to a service seminar if I paid you to learn about this stuff? Yep. Okay. And then, okay, well, I see that you're not Cephastus certified. This is where it gets weird. Nope. Okay, now you're not NATE certified, although I didn't do residential. You're not NATE certified. Okay, I see you don't have an OSHA anything card. I have an OSHA 10 card. I highly recommend that. Nope. You know what an arc flash is? Nope. I didn't until I took my OSHA 10 class, which I think is bare bones minimal, because that is some very eye-opening things as far as safety goes and all that. And I think it's really important. I'm not a huge big safety thing, because if we went to the extreme, even with the driving, which I'm not going to get into, maybe, it's very important that you're aware of at least safety hazards and identify them, what you can do about it, if you're OSHA compliant, if you're not. That is a big deal. That is a big deal. Okay, would you go to the OSHA 10 minimum 30, 40 hour class if I paid for it and I paid you? Yep. Okay. Okay, well, okay, so does that make him qualified? I don't fucking know, because he's telling me all these things out of compliance, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. You don't know. You're like, and this is the employer side, then, like, I don't really give a shit about that. I care about me as a technician. Well, you should care about this, because I'm answering your questions, but I'm giving different perspectives of what is a qualified technician. The next one's going to be customers' perspective on what a qualified technician is. And it's probably not what you think, but we'll go from there. So I keep seeing, need a HVAC degree and all these Indeed jobs and whatever. Need this, need that, need this certification, need all this crap. Okay. The things for me, bringing a guy on to be quote unquote certified, is customized by what you're doing and what the niche of the company is. So if it's like chillers, Well, then you better know chillers and go to Train and Carrier and York and everybody else that makes chiller. If you're doing VRF, you better go to Mitsubishi or LG or whatever, and you better have that certification. Because, again, I'm not a big certification guy. It's like, just because I have this piece of paper that says I can work on this doesn't mean you can. I.e., just because I have a driver's license doesn't mean I can drive, or anybody else. It doesn't really mean anything. Or it does mean something, but we don't know. We don't know how you can drive until you get into a vehicle. We don't know if you can fix a VRF system until we send you on the call. We don't know. Your driver's license says you can drive. It doesn't tell me how good of a driver you are or if you're qualified. It don't. It just says you can do it with permission or privilege from the state that issued the license, driver's license. Simple as that. Just like businesses. If you need a license to run a business, that doesn't mean you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So are you a qualified business owner? No. Yes. I don't know. What does that mean? These are things that you need to know because you're going to be told. In the union in 597, which I wasn't aware of, there's I'm not going to hit these guys too bad because I don't know whose fault it was, but nonetheless, they were supposed to represent me, and they didn't, and that's all I'm going to say. But I didn't know that there was classes that you had to take in the union school to elevate to A card, which, I could just end this video right now and go look. Forget all this bullshit. Just get into a union shop, and they'll make you qualified. I guess. I mean, whatever that means, based on the union's perspective. That's another perspective. What's a qualified HVAC tech? Well, I got my A card. What does that mean? I got my Dick Tracy Superwatch fan club card out of a box of cereal. What does that mean? Nothing. Until you get into the legality of it, what does it really mean? But the union, at least 597, and I'm just stepping back and being honest here. I don't have a dog in the fight. I only have my experience, which was horrible. But from this perspective and how this industry is going, I mean, I would definitely now, from what I know now and what I see, try to get into a union shop and be an apprentice and put my 5 years in and go to school. And you're going to learn a lot. And when you get out of there, for all intents and purposes, I would say you're a qualified service technician. My perspective. Mine. But let's go the non-union and go, well, I have this, I have Safesa, I have Nate, I have this. That to me doesn't mean nothing. I'm not going to hire you because you have your Nate or you don't have your Nate, or you have all of your Safesa 4 or 5 certificates, whatever they are, because now you're a master. You're a master certified technician. Oh. You must call me master. Really? Doesn't mean anything. I mean, I heard allegedly, when I was interviewed 2 weeks ago, because they based their pay on For every Cephasa certification you got X amount of, I think it was $1 an hour per certificate. And you were topped out, I think, at 40. And if you get the 5 or masters or whatever, you can go to $45. Ooh. Oh, really? Wow. Why? And allegedly this the refrigeration certification. And I've heard some things about, well, I'll just tell you a personal experience from the steam one in a minute. But I heard from this interview 2 weeks ago that there's R22 questions in the Cephasa refrigeration certification. Really? Come on, guys. Really? R22? Where's 502? Where's R11? Where's R12? 502? You got 22 in there. Where's the other ones? R22 testing and knowledge to get your Cephasa or any refrigeration certification is outdated. That's like going to get your driver's license. It's like, what do you feed your horse? What kind of wheels you got on your buggy? What? I got to know horse and carriage knowledge to drive a fucking car? No. Yes. And you get it. Oh, see, I got it. What does it mean? It means I'm a qualified service technician. I am a master. I was taking the steam when I was working in Florida due to COVID and relocated there. Because Governor DeSantis, with respect, was open. I'm like, okay, because Colorado closed, essentially. Well, not essentially. They did. The STEAM seminar is outdated, ridiculous, and all formulaic, if that's a word, in math and all this crap. Well, how many BTUs is in I don't even know, pound of steam, or was that even right? I don't fucking know. Why do I gotta know that? Now, back in the day, steam boilers, which are still around today, steam used for food equipment, okay? But now that's all self-contained. So I don't need to know how many BTUs are in whatever the measurement is for steam. I don't even know. So I was going through that, and that place was just a shit show, so I left before I took the test. But what a waste of fucking time. And then I voiced my opinion, and of course, whatever. And people are like, oh, well, they're thinking about getting rid of that. And I'm like, well, good. But if a guy came in front of me, and it's like, well, I got all these certificates and this and that and everything else, and then, so I should be making, $50 an hour. Like, no. You, in my opinion, are not qualified to work here as a qualified HVACR technician, because that's the fastest shit's great, but where is your brand service seminar certifications? All that stuff, that Cephasa stuff, is just a broad spectrum of, yeah, I know where to put my gauges. Yeah, I know how to take amp draws. Yeah, I know how to figure out an electrical circuit with resistance if I have these other values that really don't mean shit. What's the amp draw if this is the resistance is that and the voltage is this? I don't fucking know. But I'll look at the tag on the unit and go, okay, what's the amp draw supposed to be? And I'll put my amp probe on it, or whatever you want to call it. That's how I check amperage. I don't fucking care. there's some things are just not useful. So, but yeah, I got my Cephesa electrical certificate. Well, good for you. You know how many times I had to figure out the resistance or amperage of something? If you have this many watts and this voltage, then what's the amperage? I don't fucking know, but I can tell you in 2 seconds when I pull my amp meter out. Oh, there's no amperage. I got a problem. Fix it. Got voltage? No amperage? I guess I have an open limit, or not limit. Well, I could, but at the heater, I would still have no amperage. Anyway, I either got a bad high limit, bad stat, bad heating element, and I could do that with a resistance check. I don't know. So none of that means nothing to me to hire you, okay? And I'll start asking you questions like, okay, what's the cycle time on a Manitowoc? Well, I don't know, depending on this, day and whatever, like 15 minutes, drop to drop. Okay. You got a Hoshizaki that keeps freezing up. What do you do? Well, I make sure it's got the right water, 5 gallons per minute, depending on the size of the machine. I don't have a leaking water inlet valve. I make sure that my harvest timer's maxed out for 3 minutes, 180 seconds. I verify my thermistor is working by reaching 48 degrees on the suction line and then start timing out the timer, which should be around 3 minutes, and it makes ice perfectly fine. I also make sure I don't have serpentine separation. See, nothing about putting gauges on it, nothing. Well, you better make sure the condenser's clean, but it keeps freezing up. So this isn't long cycle times, production issue. Man, that sounds good to me. Okay. Okay, you got a walk in R404. Won't pull below 48 or a freezer, doesn't matter. Your amperage is a little low, condenser's clean, everything's great, all the fans are running all right, everything's just hunky dory. It's a hermetic compressor. Take an amp draw, it's a little bit lower, everything's good. You put your hand on top of the compressor and it's hotter than shit. But you won't pull below 48 degrees on a cooler or 50 degrees. And you won't pull. Sight glass is clear, no moisture, everything's great. The only thing that's weird is, and your suction's high. Your suction's, I don't know, what should it be? 50? Let's say, I don't know, 40 degree, 25 degree evaporator on a cooler, whatever that is. And it's like 10 PSIG higher, all right? Should be 50 and it's 60. What's wrong with it? Let's see. I would feel the compressor. Yeah, it's pretty hot, because your senses are your best tools. And if it has a suction service valve, I'd run it in, do an efficiency test, and see what it pulls, and see if it holds. And that's what I would do, but it sounds to me like I have an inefficient compressor. Reciprocating. And maybe scroll, I don't fucking care, but reciprocating. I got bad suction valves. Okay. Good. And things like that. I got to take a break here for a second. nice hair. Man, oh man. All right, so so I have so I'd ask him what you have a Manitowoc ice machine that keeps freezing up, goes off on extended harvest. I don't know what that code is, 1 or 2. I can't fucking remember. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. But yeah, it shuts down on long harvest. What do you do? It's a remote Manitowoc. Well, I make sure everything's doing, you check pressures, this and that, everything else. And I'd verify that my HPR system is at least minimum 78 pounds of suction in harvest. Okay, and what if it isn't high enough? Well, I would, just to verify, I would shoot maybe a pound or two 404 into the system and see if that rectified it. And if it didn't, then I would close the valve on the drum, and when it goes into harvest, I'd open and bypass my manifold from the high side to the low side and regulate that till 78 pounds of suction. And if I'm harvesting under 2 minutes, then I got a bad HPR valve. I can't remember if Tommy Lee said, I'm almost positive he said the Sporlan HPR valve very rarely fails. It's usually the solenoid. I'm pretty sure. But back in the day or whatever, it's like just change both. Like if you have one bad expansion valve on a dual evaporator or a big ass evaporator and more than one expansion valve, just change them all just to be on the safe side. But I don't know if that's what they do anymore, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, so it's like, okay, you know what you're doing on Manitowoc's. And the rest of them, I mean, I don't, whatever. So that to me is qualified. If he had a Manitowoc service seminar completion certification, and then I asked him that question about Manitowoc remotes with HPR systems, and he couldn't answer it, it's like then you can take that certificate and shove in your ass because you didn't learn anything yet. And it's a lot of stuff to retain. So I get that. But no, you're not qualified. Because when I'm talking to you on the phone to help you and assist you, not manage you, big difference. Assist you in diagnosing the machine, and I tell you what to do, you're not going to know what to do because you don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but I got their certificate. It says they do. Yeah, okay. So that's what I would say, just to get off the employer. How much time has this been? Half an hour. Just to get the employer off your ass, or, what is an employer looking for? Well, this employer, former employer, I'm telling you, to make sure you're a qualified technician. Pass the background test, pass the drug test, you got a good DMV, okay, let's go. Put you on a 90-day probation, let's see if you can do what you say you can do, which 9 times out of 10 they can't. Just my experience. Maybe 1 out of 10 could. So that's what a qualified technician is for me as an employer. Now, if I'm a customer, and believe me, I've heard it more than once, and you know what? It's not as much as you think. You know what essentially it is? This will be really short. You know what it is? Send a guy that can fix my stuff. I mean, if you flip it and you're the customer and it's your house or your restaurant, what would be a qualified technician? And some people will go, I don't fucking know, but that's up to the employer to decide that. No, not really. Yes, but no. What is your opinion of a qualified mechanic that fixes your car? There's a difference between qualified and certified. And in my opinion, qualified trumps certified. I'm a certified master. You shall call me master. 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 Up, there goes the mic. Master, you shall call me master. Emperor. Yes. My Jedi. I am emperor. Emperor. Darth Vader. 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 Yeah. Okay. What's next, Yoda? Too early for impressions. In my experience, that's all a customer wants. Send a guy or a gal, whatever, that can fix my stuff. That's it. Then what's a qualified employer? I'm a factory service rep. FSR, whatever the fuck they call them. CSR, certified service representative. CSR. Factories, whatever the acronym is anymore. I could care less. Yeah, because I went to the service seminar and I know what I'm doing, and the factory says I know what I'm doing. It's like, okay, that's the company, okay? That's the company. That doesn't necessarily mean the technician is qualified. Yeah, they can do warranty work as a company and this and that and everything else, but that doesn't mean that does not guarantee, put it this way, does not guarantee that the service technician is qualified. Might be certified, but not qualified. In my opinion, those are the only two that matters. And the third one is you, and that's it. What do you want to be an expert in? What do you want your black belt, since we're talking master? What style do you want your black belt? You want karate, hapkido, kung fu, judo, jiu-jitsu, pick your favorite art style. What do you want to be qualified in? And just because you have a black belt, no offense to anybody whatsoever, I never obtained one. So I say this with all respect. You have a black belt, that doesn't mean that you can kick everybody's ass. And nor does that what that means. You may have the ability to, but that doesn't give you the right to, and it doesn't really mean you know how to fight or defend yourself, I should say, with respect. Actually, it's telling you not to fight. But what skills do you want to obtain? And you're not going to get them out of a book. You're not going to get them out of a service seminar class. You're not going to get them out of any type of certification, anything, and pay $1 million for it and say, I can work on this stuff now because this says so. I have a college degree and an MBA. This says that I can do that job. No, it don't. I mean, you're not. Now, are you qualified? I guess. I mean, you check all the boxes, MBA, this, that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you can run our company. What experience do you have? Nothing. And don't even get me into private equity stuff, because it's like these people think they have Wall Street money or daddy's money or somebody's money or even their own money. You know, good for you. That's awesome. But That doesn't mean you can come in and buy mom and pop places and look at all the profit margins and judge people like, holy shit, look at the ROI I can get on this stuff. Yeah, well, that's on paper. So I can pay a guy 40, maybe 35 if I really push it, bill 150 to 200 an hour. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. And the chances of you collecting on 50% of your accounts receivable is going to be slim to none, when it should be no less than 97%. And you're not going to, because you don't know what you're doing. Because you're not qualified. You're qualified in the financial realm, and you've done great in the stock market, or you've got inherited money or blood money, not blood money, family blood money, I mean, in the family. So I guess you're qualified financially to buy a business and do whatever the hell you want. But that doesn't mean you're qualified to run it. You come up with magic software. I always got to talk about it. You come up with this software that either is a service management software in regards to third party, or you have a service software that service companies are using. So therefore, you're qualified to write software because the HVAC, refrigeration, whatever industry specifically, you're qualified because you know everything there is to know about it from the time the service call comes in till the time the bill's paid and accounts receivable. You know everything in between because you're qualified. And I can tell you that you're not, because it doesn't work. You're qualified to somehow enter a market and you think you have the answers. So therefore, you figure a way out to sell this software to the customer and to service providers, but they really don't have a choice. All you really need to do is convince the customer. Well, I understand that you're not being taken care of because of this and that and whatever and everything else. So in order for the customer to meet their expectations, then we got the software for you. Oh. That doesn't make you qualified. That is a opportunity to sell something. And then as a service provider, if you don't use this software, you don't get any business, which totally destroys competitive edge and gives the ability for the service provider to run their business the way that they want to, instead of some uniform matrix that you have to do it this way or you don't have business. So therefore, you're qualified to make improvements in this industry for everybody involved, not just the customer. No, you're not. Because you probably never ran a company in your life in this industry. So There's this what's qualified. Well, we have the certified quality. What do you want to call it? I'm spinning out here. Qualified service software. Qualified by whom? The people that wrote it? The customers that use it? The service providers that use it? I doubt it. I doubt it. And here's why. If they do say, yeah, this stuff's great, or we're more efficient, there's no fucking way that your company's more efficient using the software. There's no way. And actually, and I've been told this, profit margins have gone down since they've been using this stuff, and because your efficiency went down. Because your tech is doing more things and can't do their job with procurement of parts, this and that, everything else, and getting into it. So they cannot do their job because they need to do their jobs. But the reason why, and I understand this, the reason why you're not getting pushback from owners is because, number one, they won't be able to do business. And it's like, okay, well, whatever. Tim, I know you started a rock band, but in order for you to get gigs in Nashville, you need to do country music. I'm like, well, the fucking sorry, it ain't happening. No disrespect. It's not me, man. Ain't done it. No, thank you. But the reason why there's no pushback from service providers, is because they're not going to get any work. And number two, they got all this money invested into it. From what I've heard, $250 a month minimum, but I heard $250 a month per technician. Okay, simple math. $250 times 10, $2,500 a month. You sit down for an evaluation. Well, can't give you a raise because we didn't do good this year. Well, yeah, because just me being out there. Well, 2,500 times 10, it should be 25 times 12. So 250 and times 2 is 500. What is that, $3,000? $3,000? That's more than most people put in their retirement a year as an individual. And you sit down for your evaluation. It's like, look, man, inflation's killing me, this and that, everything else. I've done everything. I've been a good technician, good boy, did everything. One of the top techs. And, we didn't do that good this year because really we spent $3,000 on you for software that don't work. But really, that's not your problem. So we're not going to tell you that. Put it this way. Get rid of all your software and give all your technicians $3,000 a year in a raise right off the bat. You won't do that. That's ridiculous. I can't. No, I know. But you'll spend it on software that don't work yet. And I mean that. Yet. I could go, I'm not naming any of them. There's one in Illinois that's really big. I could go there. We could have a week and people would go 8 hours a day. I don't care, 10 hours a day. I'm not doing it for free because you're the one that's going to capitalize off of it, not me. But to give back to the industry and to help this be integrated is the best term. I would go there. I'd drive there. You're going to have to put me up in Hampton Inn. I don't fucking care. Hilton Garden Inn. You're not putting me in a Red Roof Inn. I'm telling you that right now. Pay for my expenses. I got a Tesla, so I'll give you the receipt for the fuel costs. I don't give a fuck. And I'll figure out what I want for compensation, for consulting. 8 hours a day for a week. And people are going to go, oh, it's ridiculous. Maybe a half a day or maybe a day, but no, that's 40 hours. It's ridiculous, Tim. No, you know what that is? That's a start, is what that is. And then you can't cherry pick. Well, yeah, Tim had a good point on this, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do it this way, or we're not going to do it at all. And you don't have to have just an asshole like me. There are some very, very intelligent people in this industry. And I could, Chris is one of them. I forgot his last name. HVACR videos. But he's more diplomatic, But I haven't seen him behind closed doors when it comes to business. But I don't think he would have a problem saying anything. Maybe he would. I can't speak for him. But I'm saying I'm not saying that Chris is your guy. I'm saying I'm your guy. But there are people that I'm aware of that are smarter than me, have better ideas than me. Let's go, Grandma. Bring it on, Grandma. Let's go. Let's get these people in a room and fix this shit. I participated in Grainger's meeting. I was invited in the Taj Mahal corporate headquarters in Vernon Hills, Illinois, by my sales rep because he was so impressed with me. He goes, Tim, we're going away from the ECAT. Okay, just so you guys know, this isn't the ECAT, but it was on a CD-ROM like this. You plopped it in your drive. And the Grainger book, which is thicker than 3 freaking Bibles, no disrespect, it's a great catalog, but it was, tits on a bowl sometimes, too big. That's like my word. But for what it was in paper form, it was great. And I was told, well, then they went to the ECAT. So the ECAT was on there, and it was, a click to upgrade or update the catalog, the ECAT. So it was always constant, and then it saved Grainger a shitload of money. But some people still love that fucking catalog, and they still print it and use it, to my knowledge. But that was an evolution of using technology. And then I was approached by Mike. His last name escapes me. Mike Reeves at the time, my sales rep, I think. Tim, I talked to my boss, blah, 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 whatever, and we're having like a meeting of the minds or brainstorming meeting with business owners like you, and we want you to attend for free. So it was free. Grainger all-day meeting at corporate because we're going to roll out the Grainger webpage. Okay? I don't tell too many people about this because it's not about me and my ego and my accolades. I'm just telling you the truth for a lot of reasons. I'm not anti-technology advanced. Hell, I'm running Linux Mint on my fucking computer. Okay? Not Windows, not Mac. I'm 62. Most guys my age don't even know how to use a fucking phone. That matter, a computer. But they sure as hell don't know how to get into the BIOS and the boot manager and boot from the USB ISO disk so then you can load Linux Mint on there and all this crap, which I highly recommend, actually. So I'm not anti-technology. I'm anti-technology that don't work. So I was invited up to Grainger, went into Taj Mahal. It was great. And if you go to Grainger.com, I'm pretty sure it says My List, okay, after you log in and password and all this shit. My Lists, okay? The guy that was sitting to my right, I would love to take credit for this, and if I was a complete dick, I would, because you wouldn't know any different, but that's not true. There was a guy next to me, and we were powwowing ideas for the Grainger webpage. And this guy said, okay, could you put like a My List in there? Because the Grainger website and even the ECAT was great, but it was redundant. So you had to, every time you had to go place an order, you had to go in there and pick everything that you needed. And let's say you're doing truck stock. to replace your truck stock, i.e. warehouse inventory, min-max numbers, for rotation every week and restocking the trucks, you'd have to go in there. I need one 6X585, one 6X580, one 4E048, one 5A547. Look them all up. I just gave you a good start on your truck stock list. 3XL06. Now I got my head into that. Numbers I'll know to the day I die. And this guy goes, could you come up with my list or whatever, that once I make a list and I'm going to go in there and order this shit again pretty frequently, just click on that list, and then all I got to do is change the quantity just by tabbing pretty much, I would think. And I never used them, but it's a great idea. And it's like, put the PON, delivery, ship to, bam. And you have it in 2 to 3 days at the most with Grainger. Brilliant. It's still there. I think it's my list. And then you could customize different lists too, not just one. Like if you have a filter order or truck stock order or cleaning supply order, whatever, you can customize it and it's always there instead of going through the order pad, they called it, which was nothing more than a requisition form, digitized, and look up everything that you needed, which is ridiculous because it's the same shit every week for the most part, but different quantities. So why would you have to do that again? I was part of that meeting. I don't care if you fucking believe me or not. So, and I went up to Silver King. I'll name them. And they had all kinds of problems, specifically with 6-door under-counter reaching freezers that kept freezing up. And with feedback from my guys and from myself, I went to Silver King Corporate at the time. All these people are gone, I'm sure. And sat with the engineer, Scott, I'm not going to name his last name, VP of Operations, the distributor, the owner of the distributor for Silver King in Minneapolis, and a few other people. And we sat, and the purchasing agent for Buffalo Wild Wings at the time. Sat, and I voiced my concerns respectfully. This is what we're having, because we were having a bunch of calls that shouldn't be happening or not obtaining temperatures for safe food product. So I brought them all up, and, everything from having a cap tube instead of a TXV, terminate heater, safety location for terminating the not defrost per se, but killing power to the heating element, which was right above the fucking heating element when it came on, so it wasn't too smart. But it wasn't about that. It was about resolving the issues. Brought them all up to the engineer in the room, and he said, you know what, you're right. They made those changes, and to my knowledge, it made Silver King a better piece of equipment. I have that as a notch on my bedpost, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And there's more, but it's not about that. It's not about me. It's about getting people together and go, look, check your gun at the door. Yeah, you're the VP of this. I'm the president of my company. Who fucking cares, okay? I'm president. I'm probably the highest position by title. Self-proclaimed, of course. Doesn't matter. Is a king really a king if they call himself a king? I don't know, But nonetheless, I probably had the highest title in the room. Who cares? Because it doesn't matter when you're trying to resolve issues. But no. I mean, these software people, I would do it. I could do it for free, and they still wouldn't want to hear it. When it's invaluable feedback for you to have a great reputation with your software because it's fully integrated from soup to nuts for everybody. But it's not. And then you charge your customers allegedly a gazillion dollars because they want to customize some fields. Oh, well, it's going to cost you $500 a field allegedly, so sure we can do it. But are you fucking kidding me? Just because I want to put equipment ID in there or age of unit or something, you're going to charge me $500? When QuickBooks Enterprise, you can just do that for nothing? Your sales would probably increase by a minimum, I'm like being conservative, of 10%. If you would just work with people like me that want it to succeed. Who doesn't want to be part of making their business better and customers happier to a degree? Oh, Tim, these pictures are great, but now we want you to do a major motion picture in 4K and edit it in iMovie or Acrobat, fucking whatever, or and make a big production out of it in Dolby Stereo, and we want that on every service call. It's like, hey, I'm sorry. Not happening. Well, that's what we want. I go, I want a toilet made out of gold, says Austin Powers. That ain't happening. There's some things that you just got to say no to. But people won't. The customer is not always right. If they were, they would get shit for free. And nobody be in business. Well, I'll pay that for that. All right, well, I'm sorry, that's what it is. Okay. But sales of software, and not everybody, because not everybody's going to do that. And that's another reason, too. Your competition is not going to have people come in. And they may have a consultant, whoever that. Are they a qualified consultant? I doubt it. I dealt with a guy that was a wonderful guy, did all these Fortune 500 consultant things for management and basically how to run your business. Great guy. His name is Stan. And the company I was working for at the time a few years ago the owner saw, look, two brothers, and they saw a need that they needed to improve things. And they brought Stan in. I'm going to have to say my dad and his partner looked into this shit decades ago, and it was $80,000. This guy had to be at least $100,000. I mean, I could be wrong. I doubt it, but it wouldn't surprise me. Really, really insightful KPIs, which I don't agree with. I know people are going to go, oh my God, this guy doesn't believe in KPIs, key performance indicators. What the fuck is that? Really? Key performance. I could see maximum performance. Key? What do you mean key? Essential? We know what's essential. Key, essential. Performance. Okay, well, that is basically how you evaluate an employee annually. Indicator. What's an indicator? That's my gas gauge on my fucking truck. Indicator. What? So it indicates. It doesn't even make any sense. Key performance indicator. How about motivator? And it just doesn't. And we're going down this stuff. And I was interim service manager because the guy that was the manager was in the hospital for back surgery. And I allegedly, supposedly was told that I would take the position. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. And it's like it was totally ridiculous. And we went around the table in the meeting every week. Everybody was assigned KPIs, including me. And one of my things was efficient dispatch, and all these things, and a lot of them didn't make any sense because it was on the verge of micromanaging in things that were obvious, and repetitive and redundant. It's like a key performance indicator, Tim, for you to be at your maximum health is drinking 8 glasses of purified water a day. Okay. So then next week comes by. Well, we had a drop in this area, and the KPI said you should have drank 8 glasses of water. Did you? Yeah. Or no? Oh, well, that's why, because you didn't drink enough water. Okay, but last week I did, and it still was a problem. So what is this? It's a waste of fucking time is what it is. If KPIs worked, these shouldn't have to be reviewed. So, whatever. But this guy, Stan, came in. He did a great job, and he did what he could do with his quote-unquote qualifications. And some were brilliant, some were not. They ain't going to work. Not in this industry. You need a qualified HVACR consultant in order for them to help you with your business. What is that? I have no fucking idea. But I would like to think someone like me. God forbid you got 10 of me in a room to figure out issues in this industry, because you know what? They'd be fixed if action was taken. But it won't happen. So I don't have the answers other than I can just put it out there. Look, just have me up there for 8 hours. Let's have a meeting. Let's see what the issues and challenges are, and be grown-ups and mature people and professionals, and go, okay, this is what we're hearing, Tim. This is what we're hearing, Tim. Get up there with a whiteboard. Get up there, which I prefer, or get up there with a frickin' screen and doing it on Microsoft Word or whatever you want. I really am not a spreadsheet person, so I don't want to see that shit. But get up there and do something with something, and let's bullet form. These are the problems. And categorize them. These are the challenges, opportunities, whatever you want to label them. Roadblocks, resistant areas, whatever management term is, like a KPI, whatever the buzzword is. Let's fix it. Because that's what technicians do. They fix problems. That's what leaders do. They take something and figure something out that no one else can, and they actually fix it. Not put Band-Aids on it, not tell people to shut up or ignore them, when they really actually care or are concerned to fix these problems. You lead by example. Why don't you do that with your software? Because you choose not to. My offer's on the table to any software company that wants legitimate, non-judgmental, full integration and insight that you won't get anywhere else. I mean, there's people out there, but very few. You need somebody that's been in this industry forever, started and ran a successful business from nothing, upscaled it to something, and then also have consulted customers and manufacturers, distributors, vendors, Granger, website, things like that. Things that people have contributed to, but they're not going to tell you. They may. I mean, egotistical people like, well, yeah, you know that I was on the ECC, Elgin Community College, my alma mater, community college, on the HVAC advisory board. There's another accolade, okay? Well, I mean, but that's not what it's about. So if you want to toot your horn, well, this is my qualifications. Okay, here. Now what? What have you done? What have you done to help this industry? Help the entire industry. Everywhere from people in factories putting this stuff together, to the engineers designing it, to the people that are selling it, to the people that are installing it, to the people that are repairing it, to the people that are servicing it, to the accountants that are doing the books, to the employees. What are you doing? What have you done? Have you improved things? I could give you an on-call system right now that works flawlessly, where you don't torture your guys 3 weeks in a row. Who's on call? Very simple, very easy, very effective. The only people who won't like it is the guys that like being on call because of the overtime. Well, whatever. I can't make everybody happy. Well, Tim don't like it because he likes that big-ass check for being on call and working, busting his ass for 3 weeks in a row when it's hot. You don't like that. Sorry. But the other 99% do like it because they got a life now. Family life. Personal life. No burnout. But I'm not going to share it. Not yet. An inventory system that works flawlessly. I'm not telling you that either. You fucking figure it out. What have you done for that? What have you done for people in this industry to make their job easier and more efficient, which is not really the same? You can have very efficient things and systems, but they're not easy. And in fact, they get more complicated. So that's it. I don't know how in the hell it turned into this, but I'm just showing my value and helpfulness in helping people. And I'm sure it does not come across that way. I understand that. But that's my intention, my motive, my reason for being, to give back to this industry that's going to hell in a handbasket. And it doesn't have to happen, but it is. And then you got guys going out on service calls and go, well, I got my certificate here, but I still need help. And you call for, and this is nothing against manufacturers, I get it. There's no tech support, or you're waiting for a phone call, and the tech's high and dry. He calls somebody and either gets yelled at, either his boss or another tech or whatever, or he does get support and he muddles through it. But a lot of times they just get on YouTube. Really? You're setting your technicians up for failure, and then, God forbid, they do fuck up one time, which they will. And now, if it's enough to trigger anxiety, they're going to go, well, what if I do this? What if it's that? What if I don't do this? What if they get mad? What if the blah, 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 blah? What if I do it? What if I take too long? What if I fix it and it's callback? And all this shit goes flying through their head. And it doesn't have to be that way. Because you are going to have callbacks. You are going to look at something and go, well, I just went to a seminar on this thing, but I don't know what the fuck's wrong with it. I just took a guitar lesson here. I can't play that song. No shit. Well, you don't know what you're doing. You're not qualified. Yeah, but I took a guitar lesson. I'm qualified to play the guitar. That's what my teacher said. Yeah, well, you could, okay, then play fucking Running with the Devil by Van Halen. Well, I don't really know that one. Uh-huh. Yeah. And that will be your life as a service technician. There are very few experts, masters, legitimate masters, that can go and work on anything and fix it right the first time. But they're out there, but nobody wants to pay them nothing. And then fine, okay. Oh, I got a reputation. I know people. I'll start my own company. And that's what I did at 33 years old. And I didn't know jack shit. Do I know everything now? No. But I know more than I did. And it's more of what I know what not to do than what to do. I tell guys after tech support, don't try to figure out what it is. Figure out what it isn't. What? Yeah. Then that closes the gap and narrows the window of what it is by figuring out what it isn't. Take that and do whatever fuck. Put it on a plaque. I don't give a fuck. Do something with it. So anyway, that's it. So I hope some of this makes sense. I really encourage you to listen to it more than once. Share it. Comment on it. Compliment it. Critique it. Don't be an asshole. Okay? To some people, this will be like, yeah, duh. Or some people go, whoa, dude, I didn't know, man. Far out, thanks. Yeah, because you don't know. How could you know? If you haven't done it, you only know what you know by what you've done. Put that on a plaque too. I don't care. That's why I like doing this. You know? Not you know. I gotta quit saying you know. That's why I like doing this. Transfer my knowledge to you. But the higher it goes up in the hierarchy of this industry, the less it's listened to. Some people, you just can't tell them anything. Because of title, position, power, money, whatever. Okay. One needs to hear contrarian things.